So I am Maria Jose. I grew up in Cochin, and I am the author of a blog called Maria's Menu. It's basically a blog with everyday Kerala recipes. And then I also like baking, so you can find a little bit of cakes and cookies, and then some savory baking recipes as well. Though I'm having a food blog, I have no formal background in food whatsoever. I've done my MBA with HR specialization, and I used to work in some multinational companies before I got married. And then I started the food blog almost 15 years ago. So this is the 15th year of my food blog.
So how did you start with food blogging?
It was like it was accidental. Actually, I didn't have any special intention or plan to start a food blog as such. Honestly, I'm not a foodie. But then soon after I got married, and when I had my own kitchen, it felt like a real life version of playing house. So I was so excited to try out the new recipes, to make new dishes. So that's how I realized that I enjoyed cooking, mostly because I enjoyed the creation part of it, trying out different recipes. So then that's when my husband suggested, actually, why don't you start a blog where you can record all these recipes? So it'll be easier for you to refer it later on. So that's how we started Maria's Menu.
Yeah. I was going through a website. It's very
Okay.
professionally designed.
Thank you.
And you have a huge following on different social media platforms. Which medium do you feel more comfortable with? Like, there are so many social media platforms that exist.
Honestly, I started blogging when none of this was there. So I still prefer that kind of medium. I still prefer updating recipes and going through the written recipes. Though I have an YouTube channel, I'm not much active there. I'm not very comfortable in doing videos. That's one of the reasons. And I personally enjoy going through the written recipes rather than going through the videos. Maybe that's another reason. The website actually was designed by my husband, Jose. He has some background with web designing, so he helped me with that. Actually, he's a tech guy. He does all the technical part of it, and I do the content part of Maria's Menu.
So when you say food blogging, and food blogging also, you have different kinds of food blog that exist. One is more about recipes, second is about the food stories, third could be about writing about the places, what to eat, where to eat. So in your blog, you focus more on recipes.
Yes, I focus more on recipes, and with each recipes, I try to share some kind of stories from my personal life or from my childhood memories or something, so that I can connect with my readers. So some of my readers, they actually come back saying that more than the recipes, they come for the stories sometimes. So I enjoy it. And I cannot call myself a writer in it by any means, but then I enjoy doing that part also. Definitely. I try recipes quite a number of times before I give the final measurements on the blog, because initially the people that visited my blog, most of them were new into cooking like me. So I also actually learned cooking along with my blog. I started the blog soon after I got married. So I was also learning along with my readers. So I just wanted to give the accurate measurements as possible. So I used to, while cooking itself, I write down the notes, I write down the measurements, I write down how much time the cooking should be there. So all those details I write down as I cook along, and then I try 2 to 3 times to make sure that this works well. So
this is what we call standardization. Like you standardize the recipe.
Yeah.
Let us talk about Kerala. What exactly is Kerala for you? Like,
Kerala is home for me, definitely, because I was born and raised here in Cochin. So it's always home for me. What to say? How can you describe your home? It's everything for you. So.
Yeah. And in your website, you have also mentioned that this line was very interesting to me. Kerala is a land of paradoxes.
Yeah.
So, can you please elaborate on that?
Actually, what do you say? Here, so many different ideas are there. People of different faith are there. people of different ideologies are there, and everybody has a strong opinion of how things has to be done. People in Kerala are very strong-minded, very opinionated. So that's what I said. I think in that statement, I said we hold communism in one hand and we hold capitalism in the other hand, or something like that. I've written there.
Yeah.
So that's what I said. We are very strong about our beliefs. At the same time, we try to adapt to the new technology also, while trying to keep the traditions strong. So that's what I was trying to say, that.
So does it also reflect in the food culture of the state?
Yeah, definitely. Actually, when I left Kerala, the food habits that we had at that time, almost 16 years back, and now the food scene is completely changed. I am yet to explore the situation because of the COVID, but from what I can see, from what I hear on social media, from what I see on social media and read on newspapers and all those things, the food scene has completely changed. It has evolved, actually. Now we are experimenting. People are more open to the idea of experimenting and trying out different dishes.
Whenever like we talk about a food culture of a state, there's a broad food culture, and then there are different subculture that exist within that. In terms of Kerala cuisine also, I think that's quite diverse in terms of different communities living there. Then Kerala also shares boundary with two states, Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. Then you have a long coastal line. That's also there. And then you have North Kerala and South Kerala. So I'm sure there would be other subcultures also that exist. So can we talk in detail about all of them? Maybe if we can start, say, just describing about the main food culture and then moving on to different subcultures.
Okay. So I think the main food culture, we are mostly a rice-based cuisine community. In the sense, we mostly use rice for breakfast. We make our breakfast dishes with rice flour mostly, and for lunch also rice is a staple. And for dinner also, most of the households, they have rice. But these days, people are becoming a little more health conscious and trying to reduce the quantity of rice. But otherwise, it's mainly a rice centered cuisine. So that is exactly the same throughout the Kerala. But as you have said, there are influences from the bordering states. In the sense, in Trivandrum, they have Tamil influences in their cooking, and in Kannur, northern side, they have the influences of Karnataka cuisine. So you can see all these influences reflected in the regional cuisine as well. So if you take the case of fish curry, the fish curry is very common in Kerala because Kerala is a coastal region. But the fish curry that you get in Cochin might be very different from the fish curry that you get in Trivandrum. It might be different from the fish curry that you get in Kannur. So the regional influences are there.
Maybe if we can talk in detail about some of the dishes, maybe that's available in North and South Kerala.
Okay, so as I said, fish curry itself, let's take fish, because Kerala is known for the seafood. So in some places we use coconut milk for fish curries. In some places we don't use coconut milk. It's just the masala we are using. In some places we use tamarind for as a souring agent, but in some places we use kokum as a souring agent. So it all depends. In some places they use coconut paste. So as you go from one region to another, the cooking pattern changes. Again, in each region, it is influenced by different communities as well. So the taste, actually, as you go, as you dig deeper into the region, the flavor profile can change quite a bit.
In terms of different communities, whether it is Muslims, Christians, or Hindus, so the food also changes, the cooking style also changes from one community to other community?
More or less, the Kerala food remains the same. But as you said, in Kerala, I assume that majority of the people are non-vegetarian. So it is very common in Kerala, irrespective of religion. People tend to have non-vegetarian food. So that is a very common thing. And also people eat lots of vegetables as such. So I think, but the preparation may be quite different. If you go towards the northern side, you can see there are influences from the Gulf region. Arabic influences are there in their food. So you can see that kind of cuisine there. And when you come to Trivandrum area, you can see the influences of Tamil Nadu. So there are certain dishes that is available only in that region.
What would you like to see in a proper Kerala thali? Like say what you are eating?
We call una for our lunch. That's what we call its meals basically. So it's usually matta rice. Matta rice is red colored rice that is grown in Kerala in Palakkad region. So most people have matta rice for their lunch, and usually with the matta rice, fish is a must for majority of the people, either in fish curry or either as a fish fry. And then there must be vegetarian thoran. Thoran is a veg stir fry with coconut. And then there will be a veg stir fry without coconut, and we call it as melkuverti. Then there will be some gravy. It's usually more curry. More curry is a seasoned yogurt or some coconut based gravies. So plus achar and papad. So that is the standard Kerala meal kind of thing. So if you have guests, then you will add on the number of non-veg items to this. Then you will add some more veggies to this. So this is the basic meals that we have on a daily basis. We use rice dishes for most of our cooking, rice flour-based dishes for most of our cooking. So for breakfast, we make something called putta. Putta is a favorite and common breakfast item in Kerala. Putta is a steamed rice cakes, actually. It's made
cylindrical.
Yeah, cylindrical.
Yeah, I do remember.
Yeah, so you make it with rice flour and coconut, and you have it with chickpea curry. Or a banana or sometimes green grams. So putta is a common breakfast item. Then we have dosha as well. Dosha and idli are also another favorite breakfast item. Then we have idiyappam. Idiyappam are string hoppers. Again, it's made with rice flour and coconut. And then we have something called appam. Appam is a fermented rice batter. It's again made with rice flour and coconut milk. So most of our breakfast dishes it's a combination of rice flour and coconut. So that's what we usually have for our breakfast.
And then in the lunch, you'll have what you have described just now.
Yeah, at lunch we usually have rice and curries.
And Kerala, I remember like when I visited Kerala in 2016,
Okay.
I traveled from South Kerala to North Kerala, mostly the coastal regions. And I remember reaching this place, Calicut. And in Calicut, there was a very nice shop which had almost like, I don't remember, number of different varieties of snacks items.
Yeah, that's what, okay.
That this run by a lady, and she was running that shop. And they had like, I don't remember exactly, but they have n number of snacks.
Yeah.
So in Kerala, people take snacks also quite seriously.
Yes, very much. Yes, very much. It's a very serious matter for us, the Kerala snacks. It's called Nalumani Palaharam. We usually have snacks with our evening tea. So especially in northern Kerala, as you said, in Calicut, there are so many snacks, especially during Ramadan time. You will be amazed seeing the variety of snacks available there. So most common snacks in Kerala are paripu vada. Paripu vada is lentil fritters. Yeah, and then medu vada is also there. Then another favorite thing is banana fritters. We make it with the Kerala banana, as you call outside. So we make it with that, with batter made out of maida and cardamom and sugar. Then we have something called kurkata. Kurkata is a rice dumpling filled with jaggery and coconut. So these are some of the, then again, sugian is there. Sugian is another dumpling, fried dumpling. It's made with coconut, green gram, jaggery, and then dipped in chickpea flour and fried. So there are a variety of snacks and people take it very seriously over here.
And same goes like all the snacks they with tea and coffee.
Yes, tea and coffee mostly. And we have many non-veg snacks as well. Actually, in Kerala, egg puffs is a big favorite among Malayalis. And then a variety of non-veg puffs, chicken, beef, mutton puffs is also a hit among Malayalis.
If you ask any person from North India, in fact, anywhere in India, that about Anam Sadhya, it's quite popular out here.
You cannot mention Kerala cuisine without mentioning Anam Sadhya, because that is the ultimate celebration of Kerala cooking. As you said, it is a feast fit for a king. It is usually a vegetarian spread. But as we have discussed earlier, depending on the region, in northern parts of Kerala, in maybe Kasargod, that side, they usually serve chicken also along with Anam Sadhya. But in the other parts of Kerala, it's strictly vegetarian meal. So we have so many curries in the form of, you have a complete balance of flavors in that sadhya. You have sweet curries are there, spicy curries are there, you have some sour curries are there. So it's like a complete meal, balanced meal. And in the end, we have a sweet dish called payasam. So after having a sadhya, I think you have to free your afternoon after that because you will definitely take a nap after having such a scrumptious meal. So that is sadhya.
In Delhi, we have a huge community of Malayalis.
Okay.
And since the time of say when the capital was shifted, many people, they migrated from Kerala to Delhi, and they got into administrative jobs. And we have huge community of them living around INA, and we have nice restaurants which serve Kerala food, especially near the INA market.
Okay.
Have you been to Delhi?
I had been to Delhi when I was in kindergarten, so it's due for, I'm due for another trip to Delhi.
So if someone say, like, if I'm visiting Kochi or any of the states in any of the districts of Kerala, where can I find the proper Jewish or Syrian Christian meals?
Syrian Christian meal is very commonly available in any part of Kerala. Actually, most of the restaurants serve that kind of food. But I think in Jewish food, the Jewish community is a very small community. Most of them have gone back to Israel. So if you want to taste something, if you want to have a Jewish taste, then I think you should visit the Matancheri part of Cochin. So that's where the Jews are living. So maybe that side you can taste the Jewish food.
So there are eateries run by the Jewish community there.
I'm not very sure about it. I don't know, because the numbers are very small these days. Most of them have gone back to Israel.
So what are the most popular street food dishes of different cities in Kerala?
Okay, so street food. Now, as I said, while I was growing up, most of the street food was mostly parota and beef curry. I don't know whether you have heard about it. It's like absolute favorite combination of Malayalis. It's a flaky parota made with maida. And then beef curry is like, it was absolute heaven for most of the Malayalis. But now that scene has slowly changed. And then tattu dosa, then omelette, all these were, we call tattugada, the street food, we call it as tattugada. So these were the tattugada favorites while I was growing up. But now the scene has completely changed. You can see many shawarma shops over here. Many shawarma shops. Actually, myself and Joe's, my husband, we joke and say that in Bahrain, we can't find this many shawarma shops because the number of shawarma shops in Cochin itself is so large. There are so many shops around the corner. Then there are momos here because of the incoming Bengali workers. And the workers from the northeastern part of India. We have momos also is becoming very popular here. So the street food scene is completely changing. And but at the same time, you still have the ordinary tea shops, what we call chai kada, where they serve the tea with medu vadas and lentil fritters and banana fritters. So that is also there. But otherwise, it's mostly shawarmas these days. That is the craze these days.
And also one more dish which we can not forget. I remember trying biryani at different places.
Okay.
Biryani is like state's favorite.
Yeah.
From Thalseri to Malabar, everywhere you have different varieties, different way of making biryani. And it's very different. I went all the way to Thalseri to try the biryani, and I still remember the flavor of that small grain jeera masala.
It's usually made with Jeeragashala
rice.
rice, not with the basmati rice. So Malabar biryani is very popular in Kerala. Even though it was restricted to that part of Kerala, now it's widely available across Kerala. You have many restaurants and even housewife cooking up Malabar biryani and selling it. So biryani, there are so many biryani fans over here, be it fish or chicken or mutton biryani. People absolutely love their biryani over here.
I think now biryani is like nation's favorite. Everywhere you have different versions of biryani.
So many different versions of biryani are there.
So apart from the usage of Jeeragashala rice, what makes the Kerala biryani special?
I think the masala and spices that goes into it, that's what makes Kerala biryani different. I think it's not overpowered by masala. It's a very balanced flavor. Yet you have what do you say? There is a balanced flavor with the rice and the masala. So I think that makes the Kerala biryani stand apart.
And you are from Kochi.
Yes.
So what's your favorite places to eat out?
Okay. Now I'm not in a position to say, because the Kochi that I left is completely different from the Kochi that I've come back to. And because of the Corona situation, I'm yet to explore going to the restaurants. But I like if I have to say a Kerala restaurant, I like the Kerala restaurant in the Marriott Hotel. They say wonderful typical Narden dishes. Narden is what we call traditional Kerala dishes. So they serve wonderful Narden food.
Apart from payasam, what are the most popular sweets of Kerala?
Okay, payasam is definitely the favorite among most of the Malayalis, and there are two types of payasams. Mostly one is jaggery and coconut milk based ones, and the other is milk and sugar based payasam. Then there is something called halwa, Kerala halwa, that is made with rice flour, jaggery, and coconut milk. And again, the sweets actually differ along the regions. If you go to the northern part of Kerala, you have many desserts with eggs. They have, because of the Persian and Gulf influence, they have many Arabic kind of desserts are there. And when you go to Trivandrum, you have desserts like boli. Boli is similar to Puran Poli. Yeah, so that is there. So they in Trivandrum usually they serve payasam with boli. So in different regions of Kerala, the sweets also tend to differ, but ultimately it's mostly coconut milk and jaggery based sweets. That's what we love the most.
One last question about the Kerala cuisine. Kerala is also known as like land of spices.
Yeah.
And so what are the major spices used in Kerala cuisine?
Okay, we use spices on our daily cooking. We use black pepper. Kerala is known for its black pepper. We use black pepper, then cardamom, cinnamon, and then fennel is something that we use commonly, especially for the non-vegetarian dishes. Then we use cumin to make our torrents and veg stir fries. So we use spices on a daily basis in Kerala cooking.
So any specific, like say, if you go to Eastern Indian side, they have a special mix called Panchforan. It's a 5-spice mix.
Okay.
So every region, they have a different spice mix.
Yeah.
Is there any specific spice mix of Kerala?
Yes, we have some, our version of garam masala. The basic trio of our garam masala is cardamom, cinnamon, and cloves. So these are the basic 3 spices that we add in most of the curries. In addition to that, we keep adding bay leaf sometimes, fennel seeds sometimes. Peppercorns is another thing that we very commonly use. Then depending on the dish, we tend to add other spices as well, especially star anise. In the meat preparations, we use star anise, then fenugreek. So depending on the dishes you use, the spices also vary. And
which is your favorite Kerala dish?
My favorite, I always say it is appam and stew. It's something I grew up having, so it's my favorite thing to eat.
And any quick tip which you would like to give to our viewers and listeners?
For appam?
Yeah.
Yeah, usually in early days, they used to make appam by grinding rice and extracting coconut milk from grated coconut. But these days, I make it with ready-made rice flour and coconut milk powder or canned coconut milk. You can cheat your way through it, but still you get to have a good appam. So those are the very easier tips. If you are using rice flour and canned coconut milk or coconut milk powder, it is very easy to make appam.
And your favorite, like say, ingredients?
Okay, my favorite ingredient. I think it's coconut. I tend to put coconut in almost everything. So I keep saying you can take a girl out of Kerala, but you can never take coconut out of her. So I love coconut. I try to add coconut to whatever dish I'm having. Then coconut oil, then curry leaves. So I think my favorite ingredient is coconut.
And one last question.
Yeah.
If someone is planning a food trip to Kerala, what would you recommend them? It's like so diverse,
Yeah.
and you need, like, you have limited time, but if you wish to explore everything in Kerala, so how
Okay.
should one go about it?
Okay, so I think if you're coming to Kerala, then you should most definitely try a Sadhya for sure, because that is the ultimate Kerala food experience. Then you should try our breakfast items. I love our breakfast dishes. As I said, put idiyappam, appam, it's the variety and the curries that you get along with that. It's really good. So I think the local eateries, the small restaurants run by families, that will be a best place to try out the Kerala cuisine. And also not to forget the fish curries, our fish curries and fish fries as well. So I think that is the basic items that you should try. Then if depending on your time and taste, then you can try out the other stuff as well.
So I wanted to end this podcast with something which I'm reading just from your website. You have mentioned being a food blogger for over 8 years. I'm sure it would be more than that now.
Yeah.
So you said, like, you like to believe that you have developed a sophisticated palate and a
Yeah.
taste for international flavors. But honestly, even today, nothing makes your body and soul as happy as a steaming plate of rice porridge with a side of coconut chutney.
Yeah.
Well, food blogger or not, you are a Malayali and nothing is more sophisticated to you than rice and coconut. Period.
That still holds true even after 15 years of food blogging. There is something called, I forgot to mention, kani. Kani is rice porridge. So it's like the ultimate comfort food for any Malayali. So we usually have kani and chamandi. Chamandi is a form of coconut chutney, but it's not in a gravy form. It's a paste like chutney. So kani and chamandi with some achar and papad is like a very comforting, heartwarming meal for any Malayali any time of the day. So.